Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Andrzej Kondrej. You may call me Andy. I would like to invite you all to participate in our intellectual and entertainment adventure. This adventure has a name, Vibes of Life. Today we are recording the first episode, so it's a brand new project. Vibes of Life will consist of consecutive episodes of a vlog, podcast and a blog. It's all will be connected to a joint website under the same title, Vibes of Life. What is it about? What can you expect? There will be a series of presentations and broadcasts covering a variety of our important life topics. There will be discussions about us, about the diverse world around us, about the influences we are subjected to, about our wise responses and attitudes towards different challenges and difficulties. It is certainly useful to have one's own independent opinion in this whirling, vibrating world. Also, or perhaps especially in situations where the officially prevailing version of truth is imposed on us by others and by media. It is necessary to have one's own opinion in situations where we are exposed to convincing people who are always right. On what grounds do they think so? Usually because they are influenced by the dominant media or other centers of influences. It is certainly worth talking to each other, not to impose our own opinions to someone else, but to try to understand each other. Sometimes we may be persuaded by someone else's point, but above all, we should be able to differ without conflicting or arguing. I promise that there will be no excess of scientific theory, philosophizing or academic disputes in this project. We will endeavor to keep our topics addressed in a form that is attractive, lively and interesting, nor does it always have to be deadly serious. Perhaps we will apply the edutainment formula here, that is a combination of serious content and entertainment and some fun. Personal culture dictates me to say some words about myself. My current place to live is Warsaw, Poland. In a way, I have become childish in my old age because I have returned to the palace of culture and science. The only difference is that I used to come here for school trips. Now it's my workplace, the Collegium Civitas University. I decided to present a brief note about myself against the background of the daily path I take from the Centrum metro station to the Palace of Culture and Science. Already this place creates a strong inspiration to reflect on our lives, because, as probably in no other place in Poland, we encounter a multitude of extremes here, from people sleeping with their belongings in two commercial bags in the park and at metro stations, to successful people driving cars worth as much as the average Kowalski will not earn in a lifetime. When I come to my hometown, people ask me what it is like in Warsaw, the big city. I reply that around me there are the tallest skyscrapers in Poland, so I am very smart now. This would be funny if it were not for the fact that indeed people living in the capital consider themselves smarter and more available than others, maybe not all of them, but many. People make places and places make people. There's a lot of truth in this maxim, unfortunately, also in a negative sense. I've already revealed that I am a provincial visitor to Warsaw. I came from beautiful Białystok, where I finished primary and secondary school, then emigrated to Gdańsk for my studies. I graduated in a foreign trade from University of Gdańsk. Later, I graduated from two other major life universities. The first was working on building sites in Berlin, where the Germans taught me respect for work and for people who work hard. The second University of Life was an almost year-long adventure at the Białystok Oncology Center, following a medical diagnosis that I had cancer. It was not only a school of fighting for life, showing the necessary strength of will and perseverance, but discovering the meaning of life, including the ability to separate the important things from the unimportant chaff. Over the years, I have held many different jobs, from construction worker, gardener, journalist, consultant, business trainer, market analyst, and manager to university teacher and researcher at Collegium Civitas, WSB Emerito University in Warsaw, and the University of Białystok. One can ask the sensible question, why am I starting this project? What motivates me to throw myself into the mass media, to expose myself to heckling? I'm also probably elevating the average age of followers a bit. This is mainly due to the observation of our reality and understanding that we are increasingly operating in a kind of matrix in which most things and phenomena are created to achieve a certain someone's goal. We know the world and our surroundings only marginally from our observations, more often from others, people's messages, and above all from the media. These other people no longer give us objective information, but rather their opinions and views, which vary according to their intellectual level, preferred values, or fascination with modern trends. Indeed, someone close to us often convinces us of how we should live and act. And the mass media? Well, they have two fundamental characteristics. Firstly, at the level of entertainment, they serve us increasingly primitive, superficial, banal, kitschy content. The magic of nudity, queens of life, naked survival instinct, Iceland of broken hearts, couch mates. Shall I go on listing? There are fewer and fewer sources where you can come across something of value, entertainment at the level of 21st century people. Secondly, on a cognitive level, instead of facts, the media usually present the point of view of their owners and present a largely distorted picture of reality. They create more in a negative sense that they are described events. A march of patriots or a march of nationalists and fascists. It will be the same event, just described differently. One media outlet, a leading politician, is an eminent statesperson, in others a notorious cynical liar. As a result, on the one hand, we are enjoying increasing freedom, while on the other hand, we are being manipulated to an extent that most people are completely unaware of. The world is accelerating. It's becoming increasingly difficult to find one's way into it. Hence, more and more people are feeling lost, not only because of the rapid technological development, but also because of the total change in the value system. It takes a certain amount of courage and open-mindedness to understand that not everything modern is valuable, and that powerful groups of influence are sometimes behind the shaping of new trends and fashions. All that glitters is not gold. My motivation is to create a platform of communication for people who feel that our surroundings are not at all as they are presented to us. The better we understand the world, our people's attitudes and behavior, and the mechanism of the media, the less disappointment, fear, stress, and even depression there will be. It is therefore meant to be a forum for those who see more, feel deeply, and are convinced of their worth, and are therefore more resistant to the influences of their environment. They are waterproof. We are the creators of our lives. It depends primarily on us, on how we react to those influences. Above all, it depends on whether we create ourselves and generate the events around us, or whether we agree to let others create our fate, in many cases against our will, plans, or personal preferences. Each of us is someone unique. We have some unknown number of days to live meaningfully, to be able to say to ourselves in the near or distant future that we have used this gift, life, to its full value. Despite appearances, there will be a positive theme running through this project. Our lives are valuable and unique, and we can find many beauties in the world around us, in nature, in art, but even in people. I'm keen that we find these positive sides of our lives not only in unique values, but also in even ordinary areas, such as the fact that we can walk, see, breathe, and be free people. This is not so obvious at all, and on the day-to-day basis, we usually do not see or appreciate it. The world has different colors, and it's worth noticing them. Also, when others see gray and emptiness or judge the world in a 0-1 black and white formula. What should this vlog look like? It's going to be about different topics that are important to us, such as courage, simplicity, creativity, individualism, authenticity, challenges, limitations, real or illusionary values, friendship, love. Our videos will be recorded in various places and circumstances, and we'll also invite interesting people to participate. Everything will be real and genuine. We'll certainly not use artificial intelligence and create virtual images. I say plural because I'm launching this project with my friends who are supporting it not only in terms of content, but also in terms of graphics, sound, and techniques. In other words, in those areas that I don't know much about. There are Kate and Paul, who I hope will soon introduce themselves to you. In the next episode, we'll address the issue of simplicity of life, uncomplicated values in this increasingly complex world. Our lives are becoming more and more complex. We are constantly setting new goals, looking for the next stimulus, and modeling ourselves on others. You get the impression that many people are in frenzy to find new challenges and experiences because the existing ones are no longer enough. This is due to the ideology of consumerism that envelopes us, also as a result of strong influences or even widespread manipulation. As a result, despite our daily hustle and bustle, we are increasingly frustrated. After all, there is still so much we don't have. More and more people are feeling the syndrome of being lost in this rapidly changing world. So maybe it's worth pausing for a moment to calm down. You don't necessarily need to hear the dreaded cancer diagnosis to understand what is important in your life. The solution is sometimes to go back to these sources, which is to say to what used to make us happy and then stop, to the basic values that we have ceased to appreciate or even over time to notice. It's certainly worth reorienting your value system to start appreciating simple things again, to be happy with what we have, to pay more attention to the content than to the packaging, and to focus on quality rather than quantity. We'll record this next episode in unusual setting, in a country where people still appreciate simple values. Perhaps because the harsh nature in faraway Iceland has touched them to do so. See you there. Hello.